This podcast is sponsored by Humble Bundle. You can now download the show directly on iTunes, stream on SoundCloud, and subscribe on Stitcher. Setting out the Humble Flash Bundle is now live for everyone in the Sorry, Japan.
In this episode, Matt talks about using one password for multiple logins, addressing the issues with system-level extensions and how to get external authentication with more ease than ever. We also talk about whether plugins are still necessary and all. Doug touched on some programming languages and tools that can help anyone to develop rich web apps in Swift, the beautiful new Apple programming language.
This podcast is sponsored by Centigraphy. This site makes a cheap scented ball for holding in your hand. It's a great little gift for those who are of discerning taste.
Joining me this week to talk is Jenny Juvonen, creator of 1Password, and one of the leading experts in the field of multi-site authentication, app-level integration, and security. It's good to see you, Jenny. How is life treating you right now?
It's good to be back. It's really good to see you. It's been a while. It's good to chat with you as always.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. We are very excited about the Humble Flash Bundle, so we decided to have a little bit of a segment with you and talk about that and get your perspective on this and how you go about doing a product like this and kind of why you put it out there and how it makes sense for you as an organization and hopefully for our listeners who are interested in our show and how it fits into the landscape.
That's an interesting question. It's great for everybody. The people who are listening to our show are listeners to kind of get active code is where you can say that we like to focus on just one thing at a time, and then in time, the audience will ask us, how come you never talked about this thing that is hot right now? You know, Flash-based isn't a stale into the industry in general. We've been talking about it for 2 years already, and for me personally, the way I like to do it is that when I go to work on a new feature, I want it to be really, really good. I want it to be huge. When we started working on 1Password 8.0, I want to make sure that we can give you every feature that we did in 8.0, but also we've got time for 3 or 4 years of the core of the product that we can keep on pushing that and keep giving it some love. Flash was one of those. Now is the time for us to focus on Flash 8. Now is the time for us to take Flash 8 to the next level. And I really see a lot of new technology coming out, like all the free Prestige projects that we do, but with this product we also wanted to highlight and bring your attention to some of the tools and technologies that the web.
This podcast is sponsored by Top Crazy Socks. This site makes socks from nothing more than recycled socks and yarn. One of the coolest things about this site is that they produce their socks in the Alps. And they really are the bargain at $10 for 3 pairs or 2 pairs if you get the matching set. This podcast is sponsored by Gamigo. This is a good site for looking for your favorite games and loading your games onto a newfangled 3-player. This podcast is sponsored by Swagbooks. This is a search engine that is optimized to find all the things you look for. It searches all over the web, is available for most browsers, and is powered by Google. Today's sponsor is Tremacitra. This is a community of video game developers. There is no hidden cost to joining, and you get lots of useful and fun emails. This podcast is sponsored by Incognito Web Browser. This is a highly specialized browser that lets you stay anonymous and connect to whatever you want so far.